Shout out the Truth Over Everything for sending me this story. Now, this is a story that actually came out, I think, about last week, if I'm not mistaken, but an update to it has come. So let me give you a bit of an overview. This person's name is Judge Mary Ellen Brennan, and she basically sentenced this teen black girl, to incarceration because she refused or she just did not do her homework. When I first heard that, I was like, there's got to be way more to it than that. And I would be even more pissed if that was just the only reason. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is read this article. It's going to give you some more information about that, and then it's going to give the update as well. A 15-year-old black girl in Michigan who has been incarcerated since mid-May of black children. Oakland County Judge Mary Ellen Brennan, the presiding judge of the court's family division, determined that the girl has been benefiting from a residential treatment program at a juvenile detention center, but is not yet ready to be with her mother. Brennan scheduled another hearing for September, so that means that she's still going to be incarcerated through September. The girl, who was being identified only by her middle name Grace, was the subject of a report published last week by ProPublica Illinois, with politicians and community activists expressing outrage over her incarceration. During a 3-hour proceeding, Brennan told Grace that it was in her best interest to stay in the program after all the progress she has been making. Give yourself a chance to follow through and finish something, Brennan said, according to the Detroit News. The right thing is for you and your mom to be separated for right now. Grace, however, told the judge that she wanted to go home. I miss my mom. I can control myself. I can be obedient. After hearing, an attorney for the family, Jonathan Burnett, confirmed that Grace has been doing well in the program, but the fight for her release is ongoing. He could not immediately be reached for further comment. This past school year, Grace was a sophomore at Groves High School in the Birmingham Public Schools, which is 79% white, according to the school district data. Over the past few days, parents and students in suburban Detroit have protested in support of Grace's release from the Children's Village in Oakland County, the detention center where she's being held in the midst of the virus pandemic. So this chick locked this girl away because she didn't do her homework, or she felt like she was being disobedient, while there's a pandemic still ongoing, and she's been there since mid-May. She did not just put her there last week or last month. She's been in there for over almost 3 months. Like, they say that she's making progress. Clearly she's ready to leave, but they're not allowing her to leave. See, now this is just showing you that the school to prison pipeline can work when you're not in school. They can do it from home now. At Monday's hearing, Brennan stressed that police have responded to incidents between the mother and the daughter 3 times, and that Grace's detainment was the result of that. She was not detained because she didn't turn her homework in. Brennan said she was detained because she was a threat to her mother. Brennan also addressed the scrutiny the case has come under. My role is to make decisions that are in this young lady's best interest, period. I took an oath that I would not be swayed by public clamor or fear of criticism. Representative Debbie Dingell is among those who have questioned whether race was a factor in detaining Grace. Black youth in Michigan are more than 4 times likely to be detained or committed than white youth. Now, that's what I have to say about this. Would this judge have done this to a white teenager that was in the same predicament as this black girl? That's my main question. They need to pull the stats up on that. But then again, it just shows right here that they're more likely. What was it? They said 4 times more likely. So that basically answers my question. If I was a white young person, I really question whether the judge would have done this, Dingell said Monday on MSNBC. Putting a young person in a confined area in the midst of the virus is not the answer, especially since they are releasing prisoners who have done way worse because of this virus. But you're putting her in there because of an alleged dispute between her and her mother. On Thursday, the Michigan Supreme Court said it will review the circumstances surrounding Grace's detainment. Her case not only touches upon the issues of racial bias within the criminal justice system, but it is also entwined with larger concerns over the virus spread in juvenile detention centers, as well as how children with learning disabilities are being disparately affected during the pandemic as a result of homeschooling. According to ProPublica, Grace has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and receives special education services. The girl and her mother, identified as Sharice, had bouts of conflict. In 2018, Grace was placed into a court diversion program for incorrigibility, but was released from it early. In November, an assault charge was filed against Grace after police were called to an incident in which the mother said Grace became violent because she was upset she couldn't go to a friend's house. Weeks later, according to ProPublica, Grace was charged with larceny after she was caught on surveillance video stealing another student's cell phone from a school locker room. The phone was subsequently returned. A juvenile court hearing was held virtually in April, and a caseworker told the judge that Grace should receive mental health and anger management treatment at a residential facility. A court-appointed attorney asked for probation for Grace because she had not been in any further trouble since November and because of the virus concerns at detention facilities. My mom and I are working each day to better ourselves in our relationship, and I think that the removal from my home should be an intrusion on our progress, Grace said at the time. Brennan sentenced Grace to intensive probation with several requirements, including staying home, checking in with a caseworker, no phone use, and completing her schoolwork. But the girl was unable to focus properly while learning from home, and she told a new caseworker in April that she felt anxious about the probation and overwhelmed. After her caseworker learned she had fallen back asleep one day and failed to do her homework, a hearing was held in May, and the judge decided she had violated the terms of her probation. ProPublica noted that Grace's teacher had told the caseworker in an email that Grace was not out of the alignment with most of the other students, and how she was coping was no one's fault because we could not see this unprecedented global pandemic coming. Grace was ordered to juvenile detention because she was deemed a threat to community, as original charge was assault and theft. Grace's supporters say the court decision to incarcerate her simply underscores the racial disparities in even the juvenile system. According to ProPublica, from January 2016 through June 2020, about 4,800 juvenile cases were referred to the Oakland County Circuit Court. About 42% involve black youth, although the population of the county is about 15%. Y'all hear that? So this county has 15% black people. 4,800 juvenile cases got sent there, and 42% of that 4,800 were black, even though that county has 15% black people living in it. What does that tell you? Tylene Henry, who has a teenage son in the local school district and was among several supporters outside the courthouse Monday, says she doesn't know Grace, but her situation has opened up my eyes to the prison to pipeline problem. Henry says she supports Grace's release and a larger overhaul of the juvenile system. There's a lot of students like Grace that are put into the criminal justice system as children instead of getting the help that they really need. She said, why does mental health and behavioral health have to come at the cost of being held in a detention center? But this goes back to what I've been saying before, that when it comes to mental health cases and stuff like that, they don't take it seriously when it comes to black people. But like I said, I bet you if this was a white kid, they would not have done this to him or her. Like, this girl's been there since May, while this pandemic is still flourishing, and she's still there. Like, this chick is not trying to let her leave. At this point, it almost feels like seems like a legal kidnapping. I have to say legal because they have the documents to actually go put her there. But like I said, now that school is out or it's not in session, they're like, well, we can't do the school to prison pipeline, but we'll still find a way to do it. And that's exactly what's happening to this girl right now. And what's scary is, what if this is what's going to come in the near future for our kids? So it's like they still find a way to put black kids behind bars, even when they're not in school physically. As for this judge, they need to see if they could find a way to either find her or find a way to get her disbarred for real. Because if she can do that to this girl, imagine what she'll do to other kids.